Hello, it's Jack and welcome back to the garage. I think we're on episode 5 of series 1. A couple of changes since the last video, nothing major, made a bit more money as you can see, 47,000. There was actually a little bit more money in the bank earlier, but I had the mod pack installed and bought a car in a barn and then removed the mod and the car disappeared, putting me a little bit in deficit. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to talk about barn finds today. A couple of things before that though. As you can see, I've taken some more of the wonderful upgrades that we can take with skill points. So now we have the electronic multimeter, which enables us to check the engine for electrical faults. We have the OBD scanner, which gives us also the ability to check for more additional faults if the car has an OBD port, which the newer cars do, the older cars don't. We also have a compression tester, which enables us to check the pistons and good parts like that generally you have to dismantle the engine to find out if they're dodgy or not. In saying that, however, the car does have to actually be complete. The engine has to be complete before you can run the compression test. Okay, on to barn finds. If you look at the map, currently we have no barns on the map. Not one single barn. They generally appear in this area over here. But luckily, in our inventory we have got some barn locations. Now these are given to you during the game. Generally they are gifted to you when you complete specific jobs, or as you level up you get a barn location. I think they start at round about level 6. I think it might have changed now, but either way. So you need to check back into your inventory to make sure to see if you've actually got a barn location on the map. To add it, basically you're just going to click on it and it will ask you if you want to add it to the map, and you say yes, and then that barn location will disappear. Once you visit the barn location will also disappear. They are not unlimited, the barn finds. You will find that during the game you will get a case gifted to you again when you start completing customer orders and level up. Inside the case you may find a barn location map, which will add to the location that you've already got. In this case, as you can see, we've only got some quality parts. I'll talk briefly about the quality parts. Every case that you get will have a number of quality parts in it. You can also find cases in the barns. A quality part is basically the same as a normal part, but it's a higher quality. I mean, goes without saying. And what it's supposed to do is increase the value of the car, basically. I don't think it works on customer cars that you're fixing, but if you were to buy a car from a barn and you wanted to put on this, for example, the crankshaft pulley i4 quality 2, I believe, and don't hold me here on this being the absolute gospel, it increases the value of the car when you come to sell it on and move it on. What I've normally done with the quality parts is I either just store them away. When you have the warehouse option, as you go through the game, you have the ability to store stuff in warehouses, so you don't have to clutter up your working inventory. I either put all my quality parts into a warehouse, or in the early stages of the game I just simply sell them for the extra cash. And I'm sure that some people will be screaming saying, no, don't ever sell quality parts. Well, just to prove a point and probably to piss some people off, quality parts, as you can see here, bish bash bosh, $216, thank you, yes, we'll do that. And let's just get rid of some of these quality parts so we can reduce the inventory, because right now we don't have a warehouse where we can store them. I'm really not that bothered about these quality parts at all. Okay, so did we add it to did we add the barn find? Yes, we did. Here you can see we have a barn, which we're going to go and visit to see if we can find a vehicle to bring home and do some work on and hopefully sell it on for a profit. One thing that's important to note is that the cars in the barn vary in value and condition to a large degree. You can get something for maybe 5, 6, 7,000 all the way up to 100,000 depending on the car. The difference between a barnyard or barn find car and one you would find in the junkyard, which we can't yet visit because our skill level is not high enough, is that the ones in the barn are generally in better shape, better condition. They've generally got, the engine is pretty much complete, they've got all the body parts, but then the price is reflected in the state of the car as well. So you might pay a little bit extra for the car in the barn, but then generally, like I said, it's in better condition. In saying that, that's not always the case. I wouldn't visit a barn until you've got at least 40 grand in the bank. Actually, more if you can wait that long, because obviously you've got to buy the car, and let's say you buy one for 20,000, that would only give you so much more money then, so not that much money to do the full restoration. If you want to do a full restoration, we'll come on to restorations a little bit later on. There is some pros and cons on doing a full restoration as opposed to a partial restoration. In terms, you get a bonus for doing a full restoration. Anyway, I've talked a little bit. Excuse my. I'll put my teeth back in again. Okay, so we've discussed the cases or the crates. We've discussed the barn finds, as in how to get them into the map. And now what we're going to do is visit said barn over here, travelling all the way out to nearby the sea. I'm not sure how I'm getting there. Probably walking, because I don't currently have a car in the garage that runs. Okay, for those of you that have never seen the barn before, once it appears, here we go. So a number of two vehicles in here. Actually, this one's going to be a great one to do, the Jeep. Sometimes you get 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 5 cars in the barn. What you also get is the ability to buy parts. So everything that's highlighted in yellow, you can actually search and get additional parts. So for example, this stack of drawers here, and as you can see, you have a varied amount of parts in, yeah, pretty poor condition. This is not bad. This is 79%. Now generally I would steer clear of buying parts at this stage in the game, or taking these damaged parts away, because you can't fix them anyway. So unless you're happy putting something that's 30%, and if you had a Porsche 911 RS America to restore anyway, then okay, maybe it would make sense to buy this this window here. But generally, until you can repair things to a pretty good standard, and as you know, Jack right now, if he touches it with a hammer, it disintegrates. So I'm taking nothing home. But again, it's just some food for thought. You can take these away and do a repair on them, put them into your warehouse for when you actually get a Dodge Viper coming in or whatever. It's a good way to make a little bit of cash as well, and save some cash. But what we do have is a case. Now I will definitely take that, because whenever you see a crate, there's a good chance you're actually going to find another map for another barn inside that case. So we're actually going to take that away. And I think you don't pay for them until you leave, and I think they're around about $200. So it's actually a pretty good investment. I know you take a risk in not finding a map inside there, but getting the map is certainly worthwhile. At least playing the roulette and seeing if you get it. There's nothing really of much value that I really want to take, and again, like I said, I can't repair it at this point in time. So let's take a look at the cars. Here we have a Merc. This is part of the DLC, as you can see up here. So this is an additional pack you can add on to get the Mercs. 389,000 miles. Something you need to look at, because obviously the higher the mileage on the car, even if you do a total rebuild and put a brand new engine in, new body panels, everything, it will still maintain the original mileage on the car, and this is pretty high, and you don't get as much money on a rebuild or restoration when the mileage is as high as this. You still make good money, but you don't make as much as this. The mileage was maybe 150,000 or so on. So it's always worthwhile doing a quick check, walk around the car, see what's missing. See, there's a door missing here, which means we would have to buy a new door for it. Take a quick look at the engine. Generally, when on a barn find, the engines are pretty much intact. There'll be a couple of missing parts off them. Obviously they won't be in tip-top condition. You have to do repairs on them, and or buy replacement parts. So at this point in the game, if I'm taking a car back to the garage, I'm probably not looking to do a full restoration, because it's going to be too expensive to buy all the new parts, because I won't be able to repair the parts that are already on the vehicle. A great way to do this when you're doing a restoration is actually to buy 2 cars that are the same. Then you can have one as a donor car and take parts off that, repair them, and put them onto the car that you actually want to sell. And then the donor car, repair the body on it, and bish bash bosh, get that out the door, and hopefully make a profit on that one too. But that's for a later video, and certainly when we're a little bit more advanced than we are right now. So this one I'm not that interested in. This one, it's a Willys Jeep. I believe it's the military version, Jeep Willys, 12,948. Now that's pretty steep, and I'm saying that because it's got extremely high mileage on it, and this car fully restored is probably only going to bring you in about 26,000. So it's a bit of a gamble, to be fair, to take this one and restore it. It's you're not going to make that much profit on it. And as you progress in the game, and get more experience, you'll get the option to see how much the car is actually worth, how much is the value of the vehicle. So here it's saying 12,948. I'm guessing this is probably going to be worth about maybe 8 or 9,000 in its current state. And I'm only saying that based on experience from rebuilding quite a few of these. You can make money on them, but you've got to get them at the right price, and they are so simple to rebuild. There's not many parts on them at all. Now, bearing in mind that we do not have a engine hoist in the garage, so any work that I would do on the engine for any of these cars has to be done in situ. I would not be able to do an engine swap that easily. Even if I could do an engine swap, I don't think any of these cars actually allow engine swap options, which again, further into the game, you can put different engines into some of the vehicles. Obviously some are specific for the car. Like for example, you cannot put another engine into this one because it's specific Mercedes engine. I believe it's the same with the Willys Jeep. There's no additional options to put in there. You normally find that on the bigger V8 American muscle cars where you can swap engines in and out quite easily. So we're going to take a punt on this one, I think, because it's probably the most attractive one to do. 21,000. We're going to see what we can get out of this, see if we can make a bit of a profit. What I will do is I'll just take a quick note. As you can see, we're at 47,942. So whatever happens, we want to be at least the same amount of money in the bank when we sell this this baby on, or more. Yeah. So we're going to purchase this. Bit of a risk, I know. Bit of a risk. 21,000. But let's get it out. Let's put it in the garage. Let's go back home. Oops, I want to quit without... No, I want to buy that part. That's the crate, isn't it? That's the case I wanted to buy, indeed. Generally, when you get the car from a barn, it doesn't have any oil in it, just as a point of note, and it generally will not start either. So, first off the bat, oh, it's a lovely colour. Let's get in the car. Let's see if it'll actually start. First off. Did you hear that? Can you hear that engine roaring away? Roaring into life? Let's do it again. Do it again. You know what? This is a non-runner. So first things first, because I want to get on the test track and I want to do a compression test and all the rest of it on this, I'm just going to put it onto the ramp and see if we can just figure out what's actually wrong with this vehicle. And now let's take a quick look at the actual value of the vehicle as it stands right now, before we start anything else. So it's actually worth 23,000. So we actually got a good bargain. We only paid 21, whatever it was, something. So we could sell it right now and make a couple of thousand profit. So we've actually been quite lucky there. But that would be no fun at all, would it? Let's see if we can flip it with a bit more credit in the bank. So it's not starting, which is wonderful. I don't even think we can move it to the test path at this point because it won't start. We can just at least try. No, cannot start the engine. Okay, so a little bit of troubleshooting. Let's see what we can do with our new test tools first of all. Let's see if we can do a compression test. Nope, because the engine is not complete. I haven't even looked at the engine right now. Let's just see if we can do some basic tests to find out if there's a culprit that stands out like a sore thumb. Checking the electrics, this will check battery and alternator and good stuff like that. And let's have a quick look. What do we have here? Starter motor's kaput and the battery is kaput as well. Also alternator is not great. So first things first, let's whip out the starter. I'm not sure if we can reach the starter on this one from where we are now. I think we have to go under the car if I'm not mistaken. There's the starter motor. Oh, maybe we can. We're in luck, we can get it out. So that's the starter out. I can also see that fuel filter is dodgy. I'm going to take that off straight away. And then I believe it was also the alternator and battery. So let's take the battery off. We don't have the ability to charge batteries right now. I'm just going to run that quick check again, because as usual I cannot remember what is wrong with this vehicle. One good thing, you don't have to find buyers in this game. There's always a buyer for a car. It was the alternator. So we're just going to rip out the alternator real quick and just see if we can just replace those few parts to see if it'll actually start. I mean, they're pretty simple fixes. Let's just take this off. And the alternator. Okay. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. Let's go on to inventory. There's the bonnet. So we want a starter. We need a fuel filter and a battery and an alternator. So let's get those. Probably the air filter as well, but the starter first of all. And it's just a normal starter, it's not the V8. So let's take that, let's take a battery. It's the i6B alternator. We're not going to fix this whole thing in this sitting. I'm just trying to get to the basics of where we are and see what we can do. And the potential this car may or may not have. Did I get a fuel filter? I don't remember. We'll get another one anyway. I have a little bit of spare cash in the bank. I don't have to be as cautious as before. Okay, so let's get this stuff back on and see if we can't get it started. The bottom end of the car looks actually in pretty good condition. If you look at the engine block, nice and shiny. Okay, let's put this belt back on. Oh, that's a bit rough. i6M30 serpentine belt A. I think we're going to replace that. Just give me 1 sec. M130, there we go. Let's just get a new belt. Serpentine belt A, wasn't it? This one. $190. That's Mercedes for you, isn't it? Goodness me. That's not going to prevent it starting, but I'm just, yeah, and then we want the B1. I'm just being a little cautious. I'm sure it would still run with the crappy ones. Okay, then let's put the battery on. Was there a radiator fan missing? Ah, that's also why. Ah, that's a good find. So the fan B was also missing. I should have clocked that before. But anyway, fan B. So let's get a fan B. That'll be this one. $340. They were already into this, you know, for maybe $1,000 already. We've not even got it started. Oh, that's also why it wouldn't start. Big fat throttle missing. Okay, thank you very much. And we didn't take that off, that's for sure. But one thing, just before we just run away with ourselves, let's just get the old fuel filter on. I think that'll help. And also the starter motor down here. And then let's see if we can't get the M186 throttle. That sounds expensive. That sounds expensive. $250. But we need it. We need it. Otherwise this sucker's never going to start. Now, just out of curiosity, we looked at the value of the car before. I know we've replaced some of the parts on it. It's just what we've done so far. How much is this worth now? 25,000. So, you know, it's paying us back. It's paying us back. Let's see if we can at least run the compression test on it now. It's probably, the bottom end's probably missing completely. I haven't even checked that yet, have I? This could take a while. Well, the clips are there. Because sometimes the clips are missing off the distributor. And then, of course, it's not going to start. What else is missing? Oh, you know what's missing? I did say it, didn't I? I did say. And I don't like to disappoint people. All the way from California. Lovely. I don't like to disappoint people. You see something missing up there? I can. There's a rod cap missing for one. Let's get that in. I don't know if that's the only one that's missing. I can't really see too well from here. Obviously not. There's one here. There's a crank bearing cap as well. A bearing cap which we need. And then we're going to have to buy the oil pan as well, I guess. Bearing cap, and then put a new oil filter on, put oil in, and then see if this will not start. Will then start, hopefully. Okay, so I'm sure that I do not have this kind of oil pan. M130, no, no, no. I'm not bothering with the shopping list right now. It's just so much easier just to do it this way. It's quick and dirty, I know, but okay, let's get this on. And just for the sake of good order, I'm just going to replace the oil filter. Oops. It's an i6 oil filter. One thing I don't understand about this, when you take the oil filter, well, there's not going to be any oil in this car, is? I mean, let's face it. I mean, really. Because there was no oil pan, so there's no way in hell that there's any oil in this vehicle. Okay. There could be issues with the air filter now, I guess, because the air filter can also prevent it from, although it's complete, it might prevent it from starting. Well, let's just see if it'll actually, we can get the compression test on it now. Yes, so we've got a complete engine. Excellent. Yeah, it's in pretty rough shape. Look at the piston rings. If we were to look and say, okay, let's get everything fixed to 40% or more, as if it was a customer car, then there's some piston rings that need replacing and also some piston con rods that need replacing. But anyway, at least we've got an idea what's actually wrong in the engine. We could sell it right now and make a small profit, 26,000. Yeah, fine. But let's just run a couple more tests to see what the full damage is here, what the butcher's bill will be, as they say. It won't have an OBD port, sorry, so that's useless. But what we can check, we did this already. We shouldn't have any further problems with the electrics now. I think we've replaced everything that was suspect. Yeah, 100%. We're good. We're good. Excellent. Was there another tool that I had that we could use? Did the compression, done the electric, can't run the LBD. Okay, well that's good enough for now. That's good enough for now. So let's do a quick get it onto the test path, because now the engine will. What? Oh, yeah, we are. Yeah, okay. Engine's still not starting. Although we've got a complete engine, there's something in here that's preventing it from starting. Something that's way below. Yeah, it's not in good enough condition to start the engine. I'm assuming it's going to be the air filter. It could also be the fuel pump in the petrol, in the fuel tank, in the petrol. Well, strictly speaking, it is in the petrol, I guess. But anyway, so what do we need? I'm going to put on the new air filter cover and air filter base. I mean, they're pretty shot. Where's that? Oh, that's the clip I've just taken off. Okay, so it's the M130. Let's get that replaced and then hopefully it'll start. But I will just double check the fuel pump as well. So we need this, this, and this, and let's just shove that on. Okay. You can always help with a new air filter. Okie dokie. And don't forget that little clip. It could also be the distributor. Let's see if we got lucky with this. Let's see if we can actually move it now. See if we got lucky with those fixes. No, can't start the engine. Okay, then I can see the fuel pump doesn't give me a condition. 49%. How the hell could I take it off from all the way back there? That's impressive. Stretch Armstrong or what? Alright, anyway, done. So, what did it give me on spark plugs? Did it give me the spark plugs? Just give me a second. I need to rethink here. Oh, this is quite annoying. Just let me just get away from the car. Let's just try that again. Let's just run that compression test again. a little noisy. Oh, of course it doesn't give me the... I said the engine block was in good condition. It doesn't give me the readout on the spark plugs, does it? Okay, then we're just going to have to go back to the basics and just rip this whole lot off and see where we are. I mean, I'm assuming this is the only issue that it can be now. Something to do with the ignition and the spark. I don't know what condition these are in, but we'll just rip them out real quick. So hopefully you're, getting some idea of how to troubleshoot a car from the scrapyard that isn't, or sorry, from the barn that isn't starting. I mean, it's just really a process of elimination, taking each part as you come to it and saying, okay, what's the condition of this? And again, anything sort of like below 40%, generally you're going to want to replace. So let's just have a quick look, see what we've got. I'm taking this off because I want to check the quality of these as well, but also I want to get to those. Okay, oh yeah, I forgot this has the mechanical fuel injection. Okay, so let's have a quick look and see what we've actually got in terms of condition. So spark plugs, 23%, 53, okay, some of those are pretty poor. Oh, thank goodness, the fuel injection is in good condition. Intake manifold is pretty poor. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bite the bullet on this, and I'm going to get 2 new clips. I'm going to get the distributor cap, I'm going to get distributor, I'm going to get the ignition distributor, and then I'm going to get 4 spark plugs and a new intake manifold, and that should at least get this damn thing started. Hopefully. We've got the starter, we've got the battery alternator, we've got the clips. Let's just get the clips real quick. It's amazing how these clips can make a difference to whether or not it starts, but anyway. That was clip A. Thanks for pointing that out, that I just bought clip A instead of B. Okay, then let's get the ignition, and then we should be nearly there. So it's the cap that's slightly different. This is the same, this is standard, that's okay. This is a standard distributor cap is the i6, that's going to be this one. And then the rotor arm, which is standard here. And then let's get the intake manifold. And it's for the 130. Let's just have a quick look, be down here somewhere, I guess. Intake manifold, that's this one. And then just let's get 4 spark plugs. Champion. Sorry for that pun. Okay. Let's get these parts back on. So again, it does help with having those diagnostic tools, especially for the electrical faults, that point out pretty quickly what was wrong, certainly in terms of the battery and alternator. I mean, fuel filter goes without saying, it always replace that if it's looking anywhere near below 30 foot. I thought I just bought a new one of those. Oh no, it's the other one, that's going on, it's 42%, that's fine. Okay, yep, we're good. This can go back on, it's in pretty good condition. Oh, one thing I didn't check was the ignition wires, the HT leads. Okay, and remember, when you put in the distributor cap back together, remember those small clips, because it will cause you headaches because it's such a small part and it doesn't tell you that it's not fitted. As I said before, you can actually progress further with the rebuild or fixing other stuff, it doesn't tell you that they're missing. Okay. Fingers crossed this is going to start. I wonder if you get more money on when you're reselling it, if it actually runs or not. I wonder if it actually cares. Hang on a sec. 1, 2, 3. It's 6, isn't it? Not 4. 6. Because it's got 2 spark plugs for each cylinder. Let's just be consistent and replace these with 100%ers as well. Alright, we should be 53%, that's good. Alright, this had better start now. Okay, we're getting there. Alright, we forgot the oil. That's alright, that's okay. Remember the golden rule, you count to 7 once it goes down, and generally that's okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we should be good. I'm just going to check it just for the sake of checking. We're good. Okay, let's get it on the test path. Yay, at last, it started. See, bit of due diligence, bit of checking around. Well, so let's see what we bought into. It takes some time to start, even with all that new kit on it. I'm assuming that'll be the piston rings and pistons that are a bit dodgy. So if we say we wanted to go with 40% or above to resell it, the front brakes certainly will need doing. Rear brakes are terrible on the right hand side. How's our suspension hanging up? Maybe we should say it's 30% or better. It's going to be a lot cheaper. Shit, there's a lot wrong with this car. I guess that's the risk you take when buying from a barn. It's probably Farmer Palmer's barn. Anyway, he's getting me back for the Land Rovers I gave him back. I didn't clean them up well enough. Okay, back to the car lifter. But I think for now, I think we're probably good. I think what we'll do is we'll leave the renovation for this for another video. Let me just see what the profit is in this. 27,514. So if we were to sell that now, we'd be on a pretty nice little profit actually already with the parts we've replaced and got it actually running. So what I think I'll do is I will do some work on this car, get it to do some of the suspension, all the rest of it, and then when we come back you can see basically the work that's outstanding on it and the value, and hopefully in the next video we'll get it sold on and make a huge profit. One thing we can't do is fix the body parts because we don't have the welding gear yet, and we can't do a respray because we don't have a respray booth. Just one thing about respraying: the respraying, adding the colour to the car and giving it a nice new coat of paint, actually does not increase the value one bit. It costs you $1,000, but the value of the car will remain the same. Okay, anyway, I think we've gone through quite a bit today. Hopefully you've learned some things about getting a non-running car started, just with a process of elimination and identifying the major faults which would prevent it from running. One point, or at least a couple of points to notice, that when we ran the compression test, the engine would still not start, but it would turn over obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be able to get the compression test running. But when we came to move it, even though the compression test was successful, we still had to then fix the rest of the ailing parts on the cars, spark plugs and the air filter and all that good stuff. So just some points, just because the compression test works doesn't mean to say it's going to actually start. But now it's running and we should be good to get the rest of the car sorted out in another video. So again, thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and Jack's out.